Welcome to Specific Lab. Today is the 7th edition of 10 life hacks for PVC. Let's begin. If you use a lot of sports bottles, you know whenever you rinse them, you pour out the water, there's always a little bit of water that gets trapped in the bottom there, and it could take a couple days for it to dry out. But I have a great way to do this. This is a nice sports bottle dryer. You just take your bottles after you wash them, put them over, put your lids on the little ends here, and you can sit there and it can dry out relatively quickly. Here, let me show you how it's made. This is just all 1/2 inch PVC and fittings, and I got some T's on the end here. They're also used as the legs. I got a T that goes across, and I got 4 T's sticking up, which is some 4-inch pipe, some scrap I had, going out to the other end there. It's actually quite a simple design, as you can see. And the bottles, again, just the lids, sometimes have the little lip here, which fit great into that T. Same here. And you can just take your bottles, slide them over. Easy to dry. If you have any animals that you want to keep maybe on the front porch or upstairs, downstairs, just in one position without them going up and down your stairs, well, here's a great way to do this. This is just a simple rectangle made out of some 1/2 inch PVC and elbows. What I have taken just a basic bed cover, and I have used some safety pins and attached it. It's actually quite a simple design. Here, I'll show you. And as you see there, just using some elbows, the side pieces are about 2 feet tall, and the width is about 4 feet. And being that it's such a simple design, you don't have to worry about having any extra structure. And in my case, my dog is now able to stay outside on the front porch. If you ever go camping, you always have to tie your rope to a stake. Well, you can tie it in a knot or however, but it just becomes a pain sometimes and just slips out. Well, I got a great way to fix that. This is just a rope tightener. It works great for like camping tents. And you have 3 holes drilled into it, as you can see here. These 2 are almost straight across, but they're slightly offset. And then I have another hole drilled about the center between them. You take some, in my case, some paracord, tie a knot. You want the knot to go to the inside, and then you put this in to like a stake, and then you tie this to your tent, or this is one of the cords coming from your tent, and you adjust this however tight it needs to be, and there we go. It's going to hold that in place pretty well. If you're still in school and you got a bunch of textbooks, if you've ever tried to jam them all in your locker, you just fill up their space and you don't have a lot of room for anything else. That is, unless you build one of these. This is a nice little shelf. All I used was 4 corner connectors here, and that will allow you to raise it up whatever height you need to. You'll have to measure this across and the depth of your locker to make sure you get it the right size, but then you can just take your books and you can stick them on top of here, and you can jam all your other stuff down here. You have plenty of room. A viewer named Whit Wilson gave me this next idea. If you have a bunch of steel rods or you work with a bunch of steel, well, it can be a pain just to leave them out on the ground sometimes. So, if you happen to have some spare PVC of random sizes, I believe these are 3-inch, and you just somehow configure them, cut them down where they fit inside a 5-gallon bucket, and then you can take your steel and you can just drop them down in your bucket. And now, they're up and out of the way. If you live in a studio apartment or you have kids that share the same room, it's a great idea if you have some way to have a room divided. Well, here I had 2 viewers came up with very similar ideas, and I wanted to show that this is Gene 8321 and David Jones. Both, even though they had similar ideas, they had great ways of doing it. So, Jean, she used 1/2 inch PVC and fittings, which is what I have here. Now the 1/2 inch is cheaper, and we have an elbow and some T's down here and some legs that branch out. Now being that it's 1/2 inch, you do have to worry about the length. If you get too long, you will have to have some kind of support, and you will also probably have to sew your fabric. This is just a simple bed sheet. Sew it together so it doesn't slide off. Now David had a great idea with using 2-inch PVC, using the same basic design, except with the 2-inch, he said that you can now slit open the sheet right here at the top where it is folded over, and the 2-inch should slide right through it and be able to hold it. Now being that it's 2-inch PVC, it is a lot stronger. You can go a lot further in length without having to have the supports. Both of them are great ideas, and I hope you can use one of them. Are you one of those families that likes to have 2 or 3 different types of toilet paper in your bathroom? Well, here's a great way to fix that. Down here I just have a basic stand with some T's and some end caps. This is all 1/2 inch pipe and fittings. Goes up to about the standard height of where a toilet paper wall mount would be. I have another T. I have a piece of PVC that goes out about the width of toilet paper, and then a 45-degree angle here so that you can slide your toilet paper over and everything stays nice in place when you need it. And there's a great way to store a couple different types of toilet paper. If you're ever doing any work in your yard and you need to put up some markers, I would suggest using some 1/2 inch PVC pipe. Now, as you can see here, you can cut a decent edge on it, and also being that it's hollow, you should be able to drive it into the ground fairly easily. It is nice and weather resistant, so you can leave it out for weeks, months, however long you need it, and that way it'll still be good. Also, this should be a lot easier if you accidentally hit it with a lawnmower instead of like a steel stake. Chances are, if you hit the lawnmower, it's either going to break off at the ground or possibly even shatter, but at least that way it doesn't destroy your lawnmower. And that's a great way to mark your yard. Have you ever been fishing and you try and pull your boat up to a dock? Let's say this is the dock, and you're just a little nervous that maybe if the waves hit, it's going to ram your boat right into the side of the dock. And that ain't good. I got a good way to fix that. This is just a standard piece of 1/2 inch PVC with your standard pool noodle, and you can put it right over the edge. I've attached it with a piece of paracord, and you can just fling that over the side of your boat, and that way it'll help prevent any damage to your boat or to the dock. If you have a bunch of pictures, or in my case business cards, and you want a real creative way to display them all, get you a piece of PVC. This is 1/2 inch, and I got a couple T's on the end to keep it balanced. Then I took some PVC cutters, and I cut, as you can see here, I cut about halfway, maybe just slightly over halfway through the pipe, and roughly the same distance apart here. And then you just take your pictures, your cards, and you can alternate them however you wish, so that you can now display them in a very cool fashion. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click that like button and tell us what you think about it in the comments. Also, if you come up with any other PVC ideas, make sure you list those too, and you might be mentioned in a future video. Well, have fun building.